Welcome everyone. Last class we have discussed some of the theoretical aspects with regard to the company accounts, and we have learned about the different terms with regard to share capital. Actually, the terms is on the basis of various phases through which the capital has to go through. So for each phase there will be a specific name for the capital. So we have discussed about that part. Let us discuss some of the other terms with regard to the capital. Next one, uncalled capital. In the last class we have mentioned about the concept of called capital and what is the meaning of uncalled capital. All these has been discussed in the last class. Yet again let us explain the concept of uncalled capital. Previously we have discussed about called capital. So out of subscribed capital, a certain number of calls may be made on the shares allotted to the public. In simple terms, that means we will allot certain shares to the public, and once they are allotted to the specified public, the same will be called upon by the company. That means the company will direct to those public to whom the shares have been allotted to pay. That is known as called up capital. Out of called up capital, a part of the capital may not be called. That is known as uncalled capital. So it is that part of subscribed capital of a company which has not been called up. Which has not been called up means company hasn't made any move to inform the public to pay that part of capital. So it is that part of subscribed capital of a company which has not been called up as on any particular date. There will be a specific date for subscription or subscribing of shares, for calling up of shares, for allotment, like that. So there are certain rules, regulations and specific dates for that. So on a particular date, so it includes both unreserved capital and reserved capital. So we have mentioned about the concept of uncalled capital, that is those part of capital which was not collected from the public, that is known as called up capital, or not informed to the public regarding intimation to pay, that is known as called up capital. So out of that a certain part was not intimated, that is known as uncalled capital. So this uncalled capital consists of two types. One is unreserved capital and other is reserved capital. So let us discuss briefly what is meant by unreserved capital and reserved capital. You might have heard the terms reserved capital or unreserved capital, maybe. So anyway, let us familiar that. Unreserved capital is that part of uncalled capital which can be called up at any time by the board of directors to increase the capital base. So we have mentioned about the concept of uncalled capital, and out of those uncalled capital a part may be termed as unreserved capital. So what is the purpose of this unreserved capital? The unreserved capital may be that part that may be called up at any time by the board of directors to increase the capital base. That means we have mentioned that uncalled capital means those shares that are not intimated to the public to make the payment, that is known as uncalled. So unreserved capital means out of those uncalled capital the directors will think whenever there is a need to increase the capital, at that time we can make the intimation to the public to make the payment. So that is known as unreserved capital. The directors will plan to make the intimation at any point of time whenever they think that they need to increase the capital. At that time necessary calling may be made. That is known as unreserved capital. And we have mentioned that uncalled capital consists of unreserved capital and another one is reserve capital. So next one is another important one, reserve capital. This is the amount of uncalled capital. We know that, which the company has by special resolution decided not to call up except in the event of winding up of the company. That is known as reserve capital. So there will be a certain portion of uncalled capital, out of which a part will be known as unreserved capital, and we have mentioned the purpose of that. Reserve capital means the other part of the uncalled capital that may be called by the company only at the time of winding up of the company. And not only that, there should be a special resolution must be passed in order to make that call, and it will be made only at the time of winding up. Winding up means whenever the company plans to close or shut down, like that. Only at that time only this shares will be called up. That is known as reserve capital. So familiarize the terms unreserved capital and reserve capital. Both the capital is from uncalled capital. So I hope you understand the concept of unreserved capital and reserve capital. So we might have heard the term reserve capital and different types of reserves, different types of capital in your previous classes, or we are going to discuss. Anyway, there are two types of capital. You might get confused. Means even though the two items are different, you find it synonymously the same. Because, for example, let us discuss that part. You might have heard the term reserve capital. We have discussed right now. Another one is capital reserve. See, all the two items are almost similar. The only thing is the terms are inverted. That is, here reserve is first, here capital is first. Both remains the same. So, are they the same item or are they different item? That is the important thing you have to understand. It's very important. As far as a common student is concerned, we should have an idea about what is meant by reserve capital and what is meant by capital reserve, because both the terms find it similar, but actually these two are two different items. We have discussed about the concept reserve capital. Reserve capital is actually a part of the capital. Remember, reserve capital is actually a part of the which part? Uncalled capital. Reserve capital is a part of uncalled capital. Only through a special resolution these shares or these calls may be made only at the time of winding up. That is known as reserve capital. But capital reserve is not at all the same like the reserve capital. It is actually a different pattern. Even though the terms find it similar, they seems to be similar, but these two items are different. So let us discuss the differences between reserve capital and a capital reserve. First of all, reserve capital is created as per a special resolution of the company, and it is obtained from where? From uncalled capital. That is known as reserve capital. But capital reserve is a reserve that is kept for special purposes. There will be special purposes to meet, and for meeting those special purposes the company uses capital reserve. It is not created as per the resolution, or it is not created out of no, we are not going to discuss that. We will discuss during the further explanation. We will discuss at that time. So the first difference is it is created as per the special resolution by the company. Here, what is the purpose of capital reserve? It is for meeting special purposes. Special purposes may be the certain reserves for meeting such and such issues, reserves to meet contingencies, or reserve to meet various items like that. For that purpose, there will be a specific purpose for that. For that, the capital reserve is used. Next one. It is created out of uncalled portion of capital. We have discussed that it is an amount of uncalled capital. So it is created out of uncalled capital. We have just discussed that part. But it is actually a different one. See, capital reserve, even though these two terms find it similar, but actually the capital reserve is created out of profits, otherwise known as capital profits. Simple terms, This is created out of uncalled capital, or we can say capital, and capital reserve is created out of profits. These profits are belong to capital, so we can say capital profits. So this one is created out of a capital, but this one is created out of profits only. From profits we set aside certain amount to meet issues or any discrepancies or contingencies which we are going to face in future. In business we always have to expect for the worst. Sometimes we have to face some issues, or we have to face some losses like that. So business must keep certain reserves to meet certain issues. So that is known as capital reserve. Even though the terms find it similar, these two are two different items. Not disclosed in the balance sheet. It will not be disclosed in the balance sheet because uncalled capital is that part of capital which was not called up. Called up means no intimation was made to the public regarding the payment. So actually the payment is not made until now. So without the payment, how can we write or how can we show this capital in the balance sheet? We can't. So it is not disclosed in the balance sheet. Whereas disclosed through shareholders funds in the balance sheet, it is shown in the balance sheet because this reserve is created out of profits. Profits as is shown in the balance sheet. Since reserves are created out of profit, these capital reserve will be shown in the balance sheet. I hope you have gone through the final accounts preparation in your +1 +2 classes, where you may come across the term capital reserve. You might have shown in the liability side of the balance sheet. That is known as capital reserve. Cannot be utilized to write off losses. To write off losses mean whenever there is loss sustained in a business or a company, we can settle those losses out of profits. Since this reserve capital is not out of profit and it can be used only at the time of winding up, we can't use to write off losses. Whereas capital reserve can be used to write off capital losses, because this main purpose of this is to meet losses and other issues we have to face in the business. Here reserve capital is created on the basis of a special resolution passed. So a special resolution is required to create a reserve capital, whereas no special resolution is required to create a capital reserve, because it is created out of profit in order to meet issues, losses, problems like that. So it is a common thing in a business, so no need of any resolution. Every business will create a certain amount of capital reserve. It can be used only at the time of winding up. We have mentioned that thing in the theoretical part. Only at the time of winding up we will use this capital, whereas it can be used at any point of time during the life of the company. Yes, it is always set aside out of profit for what? To meet or to settle losses or to meet any issues or problems like that. So in a business we have to face losses, issues, problems at any point of time, so it can be used at any time during the life of the company. Next one, it cannot be utilized to issue bonus shares. Actually the purpose of this reserve capital is to meet at the time of winding up of the company. Whenever there is any requirements at the time of winding up, this reserve capital is used. So it can't be used to issue bonus shares. We will discuss about the concept of bonus share, what is the meaning of bonus shares during our theoretical discussions of the same module. We will discuss in detail at that time. It can be utilized to issue bonus shares. Actually bonus shares means an extra shares that may be issued in the form of amount out of profits. That is known as bonus shares. We will discuss about that. And here reserve capital has a purpose. It is used to meet at the time of any issues or any requirements at the time of winding up the company. So it can't be used to meet any other purposes. Whereas capital reserve means it is an amount set aside out of profit to meet all the requirements of the business. There will be certain specific purpose for that, because reserve may be set aside to meet bonus issues, or reserve may be set aside to meet discrepancies or contingencies. So there will be a reserve for a specific purpose, but it can be used for that purpose also, not only for a specific thing like a reserve capital. And finally, it is not compulsory to create capital reserve. If the company wants to maintain a capital reserve, to create a reserve capital, if the company wants to create reserve capital, they can. If they don't want, they don't want. If they don't want to create a reserve capital, they need not have to take any steps regarding that. But whereas a capital reserve is a compulsory one, because whenever there is capital profit, the company must make necessary steps to maintain capital reserve, because capital reserve is a amount set aside out of profits to meet contingencies, issues, problems. So it is better to maintain a capital reserve. So in order to ensure that, it is made a compulsory act to maintain a capital reserve in the business if the company have sufficient capital profits. So these are the major differences between reserve capital and capital reserve. As far as a commerce student is concerned, these two terms, even though they find it similar, these two are different. You should have an idea about the differences between reserve capital and capital reserve. So let us go to the theoretical aspects regarding the company accounts. Next one, shares. That is the important one which we are going to discuss, because actually in this module we are going to study in detail the concept of shares and how the company issues shares, what are the procedure for issuing shares, how the company raises capital, and many aspects with regard to shares. And in this module we will discuss in detail the concept of shares. So what is the share? What is the meaning of shares, or what is meant by shares? So let us discuss that. The share capital of a company is collected by issue of shares. We know that it is a global aspect. We know that every company who wants to raise capital issue shares. So the share capital of a company is collected by issue of shares. A share in a company is one of the units into which the total capital of the company is divided. For example, if I want to raise 1 lakh rupees as capital, I can issue shares. So either I can issue 1 rupee worth of 1 lakh shares, or 10 rupee worth of 10,000 shares, or 100 rupees worth of 1000 shares likewise. So I can issue at any form. The concept is the total capital which I am going to raise is divided into shares with the corresponding denomination. That is the simple concept regarding the shares. It is just a unit that represents the total capital. How the capital can be raised by dividing the total share amount. That is known as shares. And as per the Companies Act, a share is defined as a share in the share capital of the company, and it includes stock. Remember the term stock. You will come across that term during our descriptions or theoretical discussions. Stock represents, you may think that stock, you have heard about the stock opening, stock closing. No, it is nothing like that. Stock with regard to share means something else. So what is meant by stock with regard to shares? Stock represents a bundle of fully paid up shares put together for convenience. That is, a group of fully paid up shares is known as stock. Remember that term. So that is meant by shares. Next important one, shareholder. We know that we have heard about the term shareholder, and we have learned that shareholders are the owners of the company likewise. So who is a shareholder? The person who contributes money towards share is called shareholder or member of the company. We have discussed about the shares just now. So whoever buying these shares of a company, that person is known as shareholder. And once a shareholder will become the member of the company also. So shareholders and members, these two terms belongs to a same category of persons. So that is the meaning of shareholder. Next one, what are the different types of shares? Another important area which we are going to study, types of shares. According to section 43 of the Indian Companies Act of 2013, a company can issue only two types of shares. Remember only two types of shares. You are familiar with those two types? One is preference shares and another is equity shares, otherwise known as ordinary shares. So these are the two important shares through which a company can raise capital. So let us discuss in detail what is the meaning of equity shares and what is the meaning of preference shares. So first of all, let us begin with preference shares. I hope you know what is the meaning or what is meant by preference shares. According to section 43 of the Companies Act of 2013, a preference share is one which fulfills the following conditions. 1. It carries a preferential right to dividend to be paid either as a fixed amount or an amount calculated by a fixed rate which may be either free of or subject to income tax. Next one, with respect to capital, it carries or will carry on the winding up of the company right to the repayment of capital before anything is paid to the equity shareholders. I believe you know the concept of preference shares. If you are aware about the concept of preference shares, you might have understand the two terms. So, in simple terms, we can discuss the concept. Preference shares as a term suggests whoever holding these shares will have some preferential rights. That is a simple meaning of preference shares. So, let us discuss what are the two rights that are enjoyed by the shareholders who owns preference shares. First one, it carries preferential right. Preferential right means these shareholders have some privilege with regard to the dividend payment, because we have mentioned that there are two types of shares. These may be held by a certain group of shareholders, these may be held by a certain group of shareholders. Everyone invests in the shares of the company not because of the love for the company. Everyone wants interest or profit, a part of profit, and that part of profit is earned by the shareholders in the form of dividend. For earning dividend only, these shareholders invest in these companies, not because of anything else. It is nothing personal, it is mainly for the monetary benefit. So, whoever holding these shares or equity shares, they will get a dividend. So, with regard to payment of dividend, there is some difference, because as the term suggests, preference shares or the shareholders who hold preference shares will have some preferential right. Preferential right means, first one, it carries some preferential right to the dividend to be paid either as a fixed amount or amount calculated by a fixed rate, whichever is either free or subject to income tax. That is, if a shareholder has bought preference shares of the company, for example 10% preference shares, that is, how much is the share capital or shares invested by that particular shareholder, they will get 10% of the capital invested by them. That is known as dividend. So, there will be a fixed rate of dividend that will be agreed upon at the beginning of the agreement. That is, whenever a shareholder purchases preference shares, the company will mention that those shareholders will get a certain percentage of the profit as dividend. It is already fixed in advance. That is mentioned here. So it's actually a right. So why it is considered as a preferential right? Because in case of equity shareholders, there is no such thing as a amount or a percentage fixed in advance. Only in case of a preference share that rate is fixed. In case of equity shares, whoever buying equity shares, the company will say that if the company is earning such and such amount of profit, there will be dividend. Otherwise, there will not be dividend. That is a condition with regard to equity shares and condition with regard to preference shares. Here the rate will be already mentioned. The company, whether they are earning profit or not, the company is liable to pay that amount of dividend. That is the first one. Second one, with respect to capital, carries or will carry on the winding up of the company the right to the repayment of capital before anything is paid to the equity shareholder. The concept is, whenever the company is going to shut down or going to wind up or going to close down, that is, the company is going to stop their business. At that time, the company is liable to pay back all the amount to the respective shareholders. So with regard to payment, repayment to the respective shareholders, we mentioned that there are two types of shareholders: preference shareholders, equity shareholders. So to whom the payment has to be made first? As per the rule, the company must settle the dealings with the preference shareholders. If anything or if any amount left after meeting preference shareholders, that remaining amount will be used to settle all equity shareholders. That is the concept with regard to preference shares and the condition. These two conditions make the preference shares having a preferential right. That is a term which we mentioned here. It carries a preferential right. So that is the concept with regard to preference shares. And there is one thing, for getting all these preference rate or fixed rate or dividend or preferential right, the thing is they have no other further right. They can't, even though they are the, we have mentioned that shareholders are the owners of the company, but these owners will have no right. No right means no right with regard to attending meeting or with regard to taking decisions like that. Whereas these equity shareholders will have all the powers as a owners. That is the difference between these preference shares and equity shares. So this is the details with regard to preference shares. I hope you understand the concept. If you remember the problem which you have done in your plus 1 and plus 2 classes, you can see that in the balance sheet, in case of equity shares and preference shares, there will be a rate always attached to the preference share capital. Unlike there are no other rates relating to the equity share capital. In most of the cases, there will be a rate shown along with the preference share capital. Even if you have saw a rate along with equity share capital, but the thing is, even though the rate is there, the payment will be made only after settling the requirements of the preference shareholders. And not only that, after meeting the preference shareholders, if there is sufficient profits only, it will be paid to the equity shareholders. That is the concept with regard to preference shares and equity shares. So we will discuss further about the concept of preference shares, and there are different types of preference shares. It's very important. There are different types of preference shares. We will discuss in detail the different types of preference shares in the next one. Until then, go through all these theoretical aspects. If you have any queries, please let me know. We will continue with the theoretical aspects in the coming sessions.